Oh, yeah.
Hey folks, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. Gang, we have an interesting video to watch indeed. Melissa Lantsman is back on CTV, but now she's dealing with a real reporter. It's the first time I've seen it on legacy media in some time. Like, you can tell Melissa Lantsman is also enjoying this. Like, it's almost like a conversation more so than an interview. This guy is going to get fired by Monday, guaranteed. Anyways, for a laugh, let's take a look. Interesting information, and strange to see the legacy media, like, getting along with the Conservatives. This guy is probably going to get fired. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let's take a look.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
News Channel, I'm Todd Vanderheyden. Prime Minister Mark Carney and his government promising that Canada will build bigger, faster, get major projects done quicker, cut the red tape and endless bureaucracy. The so-called new major projects office is being set up to get the projects off the ground. The head office will be in Calgary, and there will be offices in other major Canadian cities. Carney has appointed Don Farrell, the board chair of the Trans Mountain Corporation, to serve as the office's CEO. The office, according to the government, will streamline, accelerate approval processes and coordinate the financing of the projects as needed. It'll also oversee fast-tracked approvals with guidance from public servants and representatives of First Nations. The government is set to announce some of these projects in the coming weeks. It'll be interesting to see what they will look like. But let's bring in the Deputy Leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, Melissa Lantsman. Happy Friday. Good to see you, Melissa.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so what do you make of this office opening up and the headquarters in Calgary and what it's going to be able to do or not do? What's your take?
Well, I think by the way that you're shaking your head, I think Canadians are shaking their head as well. It's taken the Prime Minister 5 months to set up an office, and there are still no key proposals. There's no funding attached. There's no investments committed. There's no shovels in the ground. And it's actually the bureaucracy of the Liberal government and the laws in place that are stopping these projects. So it's a head scratcher as to why they're setting up another bureaucracy to deal with the bureaucracy that they could deal with by scrapping the laws that exist. Laws like C-69, the legislation that blocks pipelines and mines from being developed, the shipping ban off the West Coast, the emissions cap, the industrial carbon tax, all of these things are in the way of building resources in this project. So rather than another office, he could just do the thing by eliminating the laws that they put in the first place.
They're saying, one-stop shopping is the goal here. You just have, you have an office, and so everything that we're talking about, whether it's, pipelines or natural gas projects or whatever, will be funneled through this so that it'll make things easier and more streamlined. You don't seem to be buying that.
No, I don't think very many Canadians will buy it. More bureaucracy, more red tape. Not the step in the right direction. It is yet another mechanism for them to pick winners and losers rather than letting the market decide what projects need to go ahead. And we've seen this movie before. In fact, we've seen it in Ottawa, where the bureaucracy has ballooned, the numbers in the public service, the cost of government, which ends up raising the cost of everything else. We're going to introduce a motion in the fall to pass our proposed Canadian Sovereignty Act that will do the exact opposite of this. Rather than creating a new bureaucracy, we're going to get rid of the bureaucracy that's in place, or at least try to get parliamentarians on side to get rid of those laws that are in place that are actually blocking projects. Mark Carney sent his ministers away for the summer after promising big action in the last election, and all we have is a new office where they're going to push papers rather than build projects.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what you would suggest instead. Can you give us some details?
Well, in that Sovereignty Act, we're going to make sure that we repeal those liberal blocking laws, reward those who actually build and protect Canadian innovation. You'll see that when we return to Parliament. Those are things like getting rid of C-69, getting rid of the emissions cap, getting rid of the industrial carbon tax, getting rid of things that are actually in the way of building projects and have been in the way of building projects for the last 10 years. It certainly is not going to be another bloated bureaucracy.
I think most people would agree that it's time to build bigger in Canada, time to get some of this stuff done. Your take on what some of the big projects are that should be prioritized by the government?
Well, look, everybody in Europe is buying energy from all of our allies. We could be the ones supplying that energy. It could be LNG ports. We have countries like Germany that are getting entire LNG ports built online in 190 days, and we're talking about opening up offices in different cities so that we can create a list of projects that will eventually be built. We're talking pipelines and mines and everything to give the world what Canada has and what they want, and as a result, put Canadians to work and fix our economy. We had the last election almost entirely on this, about how to make ourselves more resilient in the face of global threats, and it's been 5 months of dithering and vacations, and all we have to show for it when we come back to Parliament is yet another bureaucracy.
The government is trying to project the image, as you know well, that unlike the previous Prime Minister, this one is more pro-business, more about getting things done. Are you seeing any evidence of that?
Well, look, we judge politicians on what they do rather than what they say, and we haven't seen very much done from this government. It's been 5 months since the election. We've got no funding attached, no investments committed, no shovels in the ground on any of this. This is a prime minister that won on the mandate that he was going to be the one to negotiate a trade agreement with his elbows up, and he's sort of come back to Canadians with a whole lot of concessions to the Americans and nothing that we know of to show for it. So not a very productive summer for this Liberal government, and certainly not a very good start for the prime minister, and we'll hold him to account when he gets back to Parliament if he ever does.
Melissa Lantsman is the Deputy Leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. It's always great to see you, Melissa. Thanks for taking time, as always, for CTV News.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, folks, we're not done yet. We're going to talk about the House of Commons reopening. Parliament is back in session on the 15th, and it's going to be wild, I would suspect. Poilievre has a few questions, I'm sure, for Mark Carney. It gets heated in question period all the time. We covered the shows live. Come and check us out. It's a really fun community. The chat room is a great time. Plus, it keeps you informed. Watch how much you learn just from Melissa Lantsman in these next couple of questions while she's kicking around that little chihuahua, Francois Philip Champagne, our new finance minister. Question period is fun. It's another reason to like, share, subscribe. Smash that subscribe. We're growing this thing, and we're looking very forward to the return of question period. It's been a long time, it would seem. Long summer. Thank you very much for watching. Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, smash that subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.
Oh, yeah. And now, oral questions, questions orales. The member for Thornhill.
Spent weeks parading around the country and promising Canadians he'd, quote, spend less. But the guy who was supposed to give us fiscal restraint dropped an 8% spending hike, after promising he'd cap government spending at 2%. A big broken promise and a $500 billion spending bill without an actual budget. He called himself an Ottawa outsider, but he's picking up pretty quick on the ways of old Liberal Ottawa. Businesses and households across the country spend their money and live within their means. Why can't the Prime Minister do the same?
Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleague for the question. In fact, we have more good news, Mr. Speaker, for Canadians. In fact, Statistics Canada just announced this morning that the Canadian economy grew by 2.2% in the first quarter, Mr. Speaker. This is a plan that is working. This is a plan about building the strongest economy in the G7. This is about transforming our economy, Mr. Speaker. This is about an ambitious, a confident, and a prosperous Canada, Mr. Speaker. We will deliver for Canadians.
Speaker, if the government had a plan, they'd table a budget yesterday and tell Canadians exactly how their money is being spent. And of course, nothing says affordability like hiring the architect of the housing crisis to fix the problem here. The new housing minister let Vancouver home prices rise by 179% when he was in office. So I have a very simple question. Can he tell us how much of this government's inflationary spending, how much is each Canadian mortgage going to go up as a result?
Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I like this question period this Friday because we have so many good news for Canadians. It is interesting, the question, but the real question is that we have a plan and our plan is working. 2.2%, Mr. in terms of growth in the last quarter. This is what Canada is about. It's about investing in our people. It's about investing in our industry. It's about investing in Canada. Mr. Speaker, not only we have growth, but we always have a triple rating, a AAA credit rating, Mr. Speaker. One of the two countries in the G7. Imagine, Mr. Speaker, that's a confident Canada. That's an ambitious Canada. That's the Canada we'll build together.
As a European, I am a European, actually.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
oh.
an Irish citizen. Yeah, so there you
welcome.
go.
Welcome.
Speaking as a European.
WTF.
Here, here.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
More than just elbows.
And as the most European of the non-European countries.
Being aware of what potential conflicts of interest you
What
sought
possible
to avoid.
conflict would you have, Stephanie? Stephanie, I'm complying with the rules. I'm complying with the rules in advance. Come on, Fiona.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations, you're spending more money on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
All right, gang, thank you all very much for watching. Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe. Smash that subscribe. We're trying to grow this thing. Canadian Federal Politics. Get yours right here. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.